Hey folks, Jody here with Homestead Junkers, and it's Fun Fact Friday. Are you a bottle collector? Do you just like old things? Have you ever wondered how come some bottles are blue, some bottles are purple, and some bottles are green? Well, in just a minute I'm going to tell you all about it right here on Fun Fact Friday. So over the years, we've gotten to meet a lot of people in this business, whether they be a collector or whether they be somebody who's buying and selling. Irregardless, there's always one thing that got them into the antiques business or got them interested in collecting antiques or whatever. And old Jody, it was bottles. You know, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, I had all I needed to be a good bottle collector. I had a Swin bicycle, I had a bucket, and I had an old screwdriver and a piece of a garden shovel. And all I had to do was find them. And folks, let me tell you, I'd drag them in by the 5-gallon bucket full. And then about 1983, 1984, things changed. Oh yeah, I bought me a 3-wheeler, and now all of a sudden, I had range. No more pedaling, right? I could go a long way from home on my old trusty 3-wheeler and find the bottles. And find the bottles we did. We located an old ditch that was a bottle dump back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever. We found bottles from all ranges in there. And the big moment that changed it for us was a neighbor friend of mine found one. It was a square Coke bottle that said Giddings, Texas on it. And the old Lee County History Museum offered him $50 for it back in the day, and we were hooked. So we drug them in by the bucket full. But we could haul more than a bucket. Now we just lined up these milk crates on the back, and we could bring these buckets and we could bring these bottles in by the crate full. We'd haul them in, clean them up, and my parents would throw them away just about as quick as we could get them processed. And you know what? That's to no fault of their own, because folks, we hauled a lot of bottles in, and most of them were probably just junk anyway. But I did get to keep a few of them, and ultimately I did end up with one of those square Coke bottles. And matter of fact, I've got a lot of them now that are made right here in Giddings, Texas. But that's what spurred my interest in the business. So when people come in and want to talk bottles in the shop, man, I'm always ready to talk bottle. One of the questions we get a lot is, what makes them all different colors? Most specifically, what makes an amethyst bottle turn amethyst? Well, we're here to tell you about it. So here's an old bottle that we found years ago. We dug it out of the ground somewhere, and it's purple. And so what happens is that most glass made way back when, and even today, they use a colorizing agent or decolorizing agent, whichever way you want to call it, and it's metal oxides is what they put in the glass to make green glass green and blue glass blue and clear glass clear. And so from about the late 1800s to about 1920, manganese oxide is what they used to make clear glass clear, except they didn't know. When it sits outside and it gets solarized or introduced to ultraviolet light, guess what? Boom, it turns purple. So now purple glass has become kind of all the rage. People come in the shop all the time, not looking for purple glass that was made to be purple. That's a whole different process. Purple glass is turned purple because it's been outside. The longer this bottle sits outside, the more amethyst it's going to become. And that makes it all the more fun. This is an old condiment bottle, soda bottle, no telling what. This is an old Jim fruit jar, and you probably can't tell it because I got this purple shirt on, this maroon shirt, because Texas A&M, right? Oh yeah, right there. That was an amethyst bottle that we bought that somewhere. And so not all bottles do that. Some bottles have what's called copper oxide in them, and that makes them turn kind of aqua, turquoise, blue, if you will. This is an old Hutch bottle that we found somewhere. It's not anything specific or great. I just like it. So anyway, and then you can go down to Tractor Supply and some of the other places, and you can buy green bottles, and I'm sure there's a scientific something or another to where they're all just exactly the same. But what makes it fun with the old bottles is this bottle is going to be a different degree of purple compared to another one, because they've all had different histories. Some of them sat outside, laid in the ground for a long time. Some of them just got uncovered. Some of them sat in the window of a house. Whatever the case may be, collecting bottles is fun. We have a good friend, a good customer that that shops our store. We're going to really try hard to get that guy to come in and do some interviews here on Homestead Junkers, because he is a wealth of knowledge. He's taught me so much about how to age a bottle, how the bottles were made, how in the 1920s when they started going to automatic bottle machines, they went to selenium to do the decolorization, and so a lot of the colors were lost. Clear glass was just simply clear glass. One of the things we have been asked, is it a wartime issue? It could be. It absolutely could be. I don't know the specific history behind that, but I do know that that certain things like sulfur were used in decolorization or colorization of glass, and certainly in wartime, sulfur was something that was used for gunpowder to drop bombs, right? So I think that may have had something to do with why brown beer bottles went green for a while and so on and so forth. But I don't have all the answers, but it is a fun fact for Friday. So anyway, so glad you joined us. Click the subscribe button, become part of our family, if you will, and watch us and enjoy. We're going to come to you with this kind of stuff as often as we can. So thank you for joining us, and I'm Jody with Homestead Junkers, and hope to see you again.